So, hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you all sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well let's learn English together. Hello there, hello and welcome. Yes, welcome to the first day of the week, people. Come in and make yourself comfy. So, it's the first day of the week, the standard working week that is, and it's also the first day of the new month. Yes, October, the only month which is connected to the idea of sea creatures. The word October comes from the Latin octopoda, which came from a Greek word meaning 8. And, well, yes, you can probably spot the problem, can't you? Yes, it's the wrong number. October is the 10th month in the year, not the 8th. The 8th month in the year is August. Now, according to historians, the reason for this is all connected to too much ouzo at a school reunion in ancient Greece. Not so long ago, some archaeologists found an ancient Greek text carved into stone. This one. Now, I don't speak Greek, much less ancient Greek, but apparently this text is a diary entry. And the diary belonged to Kenneth Pythagoras, the son of Demetrius Pythagoras, the Greek philosopher who invented the right-angled triangle. This guy, seen here at his school reunion. Well, according to the experts, Pythagoras' son's diary reveals that the ancient Greeks gave Pythagoras the job of naming the months of the year. Okay, no problem there, but according to Kenneth, his dad made a huge mistake. He'd been drinking the night before. It was his class's 20th reunion, and well, according to Ken, his dad overdid it on the ouzo. Anyway, the next morning, Demetrius worked out the names of the months of the year over a light continental breakfast. You know the sort of thing. A croissant, a cup of black coffee, and, because he was Greek, some yogurt. But because he had the sort of hangover that we normally associate with the head of the Benchfield family, his brain wasn't its usual razor-sharp self. No. And that's why Demetrius got confused. He looked at his notes and saw that he'd penciled in. He'd made a note to use an octopus as the base word for one of the months. Fine. We all make notes, we pencil things in, and that means that we can rub them out. We can erase the pencil lines. So when we pencil something in, it's not permanent. It's something we have to confirm later. Imagine the situation that someone wants to come and see you in your office. They call you up and you try to work out when they should come and see you, but both of your diaries are very full and it's not clear if you're free on Friday at 10:30. You might have a dentist's appointment, but the dentist is only going to let you know about the appointment on Wednesday morning. That's the first time that the dentist can confirm your appointment. So, you say to this person, listen, I'll pencil you in for 10:30 on Friday, but I'll ring you on Wednesday to confirm, okay? You're telling the person that at this time you don't know if you're going to be free at 10:30 on Friday morning. So you're going to make a note in your diary or calendar, but you're not going to write it in pen, but in pencil. This means that you can erase it if you're not free. You're putting this appointment in your diary, but it's not carved in stone. It's not permanent. You've written it down in pencil, waiting for other developments to confirm that you can or can't make this appointment. Anyway, back to Demetrius. He penciled in a few notes. He jotted a few things down. He'd made a few rough notes, and then, the morning after the school reunion, he remembered that the deadline for the job was that morning. So he quickly got to work. But here's the thing. He was hungover and his eyes were tired and he was having difficulty in focusing on his notes. And yes, you've guessed what happened, haven't you? Yes. Because his eyes were tired, because he didn't get enough sleep, because he drank too much ouzo, he looked at the picture he'd drawn in his notes, the picture of the octopus. And because he wasn't seeing clearly, he made a mistake in counting how many tentacles the octopus had. He should have noticed that octopuses have got 8 tentacles. But, well, he was having a bad morning and he counted 10. And knowing that he didn't have a name for the 10th month, he decided to call it something connected to the octopus. And so he wrote down October for the 10th month of the year. Later on that day, Pythagoras' friends, Clive Plato and Gordon Aristotle, came round to see how their hungover friend was. And that's when Aristotle saw Pythagoras' notes on the kitchen table. And he realized that Pythagoras had made a mistake. And he laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. Clive and Demetrius wanted to know what the joke was. And when Gordon told them and showed them how many tentacles an octopus has, and how many tentacles Demetrius saw, they laughed and laughed too. But then Demetrius started to panic. What about the job? It was too late to correct his mistake. The stone tablets with the new months of the year were already being taken to the man who was in charge of the months of the year. Oh no, blue ruin. What would all the philosophers say? They'd probably kick Demetrius out of the Philosophers Club, and that might mean that we'd never hear about how he invented the right angle. But, as we all know, that's not what happened, is it? No. Demetrius asked Clive and Gordon to keep his little mistake under their hats. He asked them to not tell anyone about his little miscalculation. And of course, Clive and Gordon were his friends, so they agreed. But every time they went to the pub after that fateful day, they all knew that Demetrius had to pay for Clive and Gordon's ouzo. So that's how it all happened apparently, and they did such a good job of keeping quiet, of telling no one about Demetrius Pythagoras' silly hungover mistake, that for centuries nobody knew why the 10th month in the year was connected to an animal which only has 8-leg things. And the one person who wrote it all down was Demetrius Pythagoras' own son. So thank you, Kenneth. Thanks to Kenneth Pythagoras' teenage diary, we finally know the answer to the mystery of why October isn't the 8th month of the year. And it's all down to Pythagoras, his school reunion, and too much ouzo. All right, history lesson over. It's time for us to have another look at the present perfect, the simple and the continuous forms. All right, now, what were we talking about last time we had a look at the present perfect? Yes, we saw the present perfect continuous, and we saw that although we use it to talk about activities or events in the recent past, sometimes the difference between the present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous is a very small one. Okay, now we all remember how we make the present perfect simple, don't we? Of course we do. We use the verb to have, correctly conjugated, along with the past participle of another verb, the main verb. So that means, as we all know, that depending on the subject, the form will either be have plus the past participle of the main verb, or has plus the past participle of the main verb. If the subject of the sentence we're making is the first person singular, I, or the second person singular, you, or any of the plural subject forms, we, you, or they, then the form is have plus the past participle of the main verb. Okay, we all know that. And what about the form of the present perfect continuous? Well, that's slightly different, but only slightly different. Depending on the subject of the sentence we're making, we still need to decide on whether we use have or has. Again, we conjugate the verb to have for the first person singular, I, the second person singular, you, and all of the plural forms, we, you, and they. Again, we only use has for the third person singular, for he, she, and it. Okay, but then what? Well, that's where we start to see a change. For the present perfect continuous, we follow the correctly conjugated form of the verb to have with been, giving us either have been or has been. And then, what comes next? Yes, that's right. We follow been with the ing form of the main verb of the sentence. All right, so have for most of the subject forms, but has for the third person singular. Okay, so that's the positive form. What about the other forms we need? What about the negative? What about asking questions? Well, let's take a positive present perfect continuous sentence and play with it a little bit to figure out how to make negative sentences in the present perfect continuous and how to ask questions in the present perfect continuous. All right, so let's see our positive present perfect continuous sentence then. Andrew's been eating pasta since 6:40 this morning. Okay, so that's our base sentence, a positive sentence about Andrew. He started eating pasta this morning at 6:40. You know, lasagna, tagliatelle, fettuccine, ravioli, linguini, fusilli, rigatoni, and I think he's also had some rigoletto too. And even though he started eating at 6:40 this morning, he hasn't stopped yet. He's still eating, devouring his pasta. Or if he's stopped, he's only stopped very recently. And the reason we're using the present perfect continuous is because we can see the result of what he's been doing. He can barely sit, let alone stand. He's the size of a family of blue whales, and everyone's concerned about his health. Okay, but we can concentrate on that later. For now, let's just think about the structural changes we have to make to change this positive sentence first into a negative one and then into a question. All right, well, for the negative, we all know that we need one particular adverb, the adverb not. Okay, that's the word, that's the adverb we always see when we're dealing with the negative in English. But, as always, we have to figure out where to put it. Have a look at the following examples and see if you can decide which one is correct. Number one, not Andrew's been eating pasta since 6:40 this morning. Number two, Andrew not has been eating pasta since 6:40 this morning. Number three, Andrew's been eating pasta since 6:40 this morning not. Number four, Andrew's been not eating pasta since 6:40 this morning. Number five, Andrew has not been eating pasta since 6:40 this morning. Number six, Andrew hasn't been eating pasta since 6:40 this morning. Okay, so which one is the correct one? Which one sounds best to your ears? Yes, that's right. Well spotted, there's not one, but two which are correct, aren't there? Yes, numbers 5 and 6 are the correct present perfect continuous negative sentences, aren't they? Yes. And from those two sentences, from those two correct sentences, we can see where we have to place the adverb not when we want to make a present perfect continuous negative sentence. That's right, opera lovers. To change a present perfect continuous sentence from positive to negative, we slide the adverb not into place between the auxiliary verb and been, like this. I have been driving all day. I've been driving all day. I have not been driving all day. I haven't been driving all day. You have been speaking for hours. You've been speaking for hours. You have not been speaking for hours. You haven't been speaking for hours. He has been looking for his keys for ages. He's been looking for his keys for ages. He has not been looking for his keys for ages. He hasn't been looking for his keys for ages. It has been raining for days. It's been raining for days. It has not been raining for days. It hasn't been raining for days. We have been studying English for years. We've been studying English for years. We have not been studying English for years. We haven't been studying English for years. You have been waiting for months. You've been waiting for months. You have not been waiting for months. You haven't been waiting for months. They have been arguing since they got up. They've been arguing since they got up. They have not been arguing since they got up. They haven't been arguing since they got up. Oh, and crikey! That's all the time we've got for today's lesson. Cripes! Well, never mind. Tomorrow we'll pick up where we left off. We'll check the positive and negative forms of the present perfect continuous, and then we'll have a look at the question form, okay? All right then, people, you all know what I've got planned for this afternoon. That's right, coffee time! And as for you lot, well, chores, dog, cat, llama, rhinoceros, giraffe, yes! Finish your chores and sort out the animals. I'll see you all tomorrow. See you later. www.mediaclick.hu. Bye!